Grim business here in eastern Kentucky. I talked to a family just a little while ago who described a heartbreaking situation. In the first place, they live up high, and as you talk to people around here, for many people, the difference between losing a house and having a home, the difference between life or death, simply had to do with how high up your house sat here in eastern Kentucky. And they described a situation where after the rains came and the flash flood started building, they could hear the cries of neighbors, people calling for help, but they couldn't help them because they couldn't get across the water. So a concerning situation, certainly for everybody here. Meanwhile, you talked a little bit about the governor. We're told that he did postpone an earlier flyover today simply out of concerns about the weather, apparently going to go at a later time and going to brief reporters. He did get a commitment from the White House, we're told, to declare a state of emergency here in 13 counties in Kentucky as the cleanup begins. Of course, we're still talking about a recovery at this stage. Here's the governor now talking about the situation in this state and how it's unprecedented.
We've never seen something like this. Folks who deal with this for a living, have been doing it for 20 years, have never seen water this high. Whole roads washed out. We still can't get to a lot of people. Though there's so much water, the current is so strong, it's not safe for some of the water rescues that we need to do. So we'll be in the search and rescue certainly today and tomorrow, and then we're going to be looking at a year's worth at least of rebuilding.
And I would say, looking at the devastation just here along this road, maybe more than a year. They did bring in the National Guard, and they say that contributed quite a bit to the rescue and recovery effort yesterday. Back to you, Erica.
Yeah, so important to have as much help there as possible. Joe, appreciate it. Thank you. Joining me now is Kentucky's Lieutenant Governor Jacqueline Coleman. It's good to have you with us this morning. I want to pick up on what we were hearing there, both from Joe Johns, my colleague, and also from Governor Beshear. The talk about not being able to get to a lot of people who need to be rescued because of that rushing water. What about the communications, just in terms of staying in touch with people? Are there communication concerns still this morning?
Well, first of all, Erica, thank you so much for having me on and for bringing attention to this devastation in eastern Kentucky. To answer your question, yes, there are many efforts ongoing at the state level, as well as in the local elected officials' communities that have been most impacted. Some of those communications are organic. They are neighbors reaching out to neighbors, utilizing social media, texting, calling to check on family members, and those messages are making their way to Kentucky Emergency Management as well as the state police post in the region. And then there are systems being put in place for how to continue the rescue, but as well as making sure that we get supplies and food and are able to offer shelter to victims who may not have anywhere else to go. The governor's actually opened 3 of our state parks in the eastern part of the state, specifically to house folks who have lost everything as they work to begin to rebuild their lives.
It is, the pictures are devastating, and I know it will be traumatic for some time to come for those folks. President Biden did just approve that emergency disaster declaration. What will that, or what does that open up for your state, and how quickly do you think you could see some of that aid and funding?
Well, the governor moved very quickly to declare a state of emergency, and we appreciate the Biden administration for responding quickly as well, understanding how dire this situation is in eastern Kentucky. We have 17 counties that have been significantly impacted. The most impacted looks like at the moment it is Breathitt, Letcher, and Perry counties. And so by declaring a state of emergency, we're going to be able to get aid not just now for rescue and recovery missions, but also in the long run as we work to rebuild. It's going to be a long road. As you can see from these pictures, this is not anything that's going to be an easy recovery, but I will tell you this, we have the most compassionate leaders. We have the most compassionate and hardworking people right here in Kentucky. And the only thing I've seen that rivals the devastation that you're seeing in these images is Team Kentucky's response. We are going to stand with these folks today, tomorrow, and in all the days to come as they rebuild their lives.
And that community will be so important. Governor Beshear earlier this morning on CNN said he does expect the current death toll, which is now up to 16. He expects that will likely more than double, including some children. Do you share those concerns?
I do. And, Governor Beshear and I, we are the governor and lieutenant governor, but he's a dad of a 12 and a 13-year-old. I am the mother of a 2.5-year-old, and the empathy and the shock of thinking about putting yourself in those shoes, which is what we do as leaders, is more than most of us can imagine right now. I cannot imagine looking for family members, especially children and elderly, which are obviously high priority at this point. It's devastating. And you're right, that number, it continues to rise. The flood the waters have not crested yet. We're still having rainfall in Kentucky that's prevented the governor from actually doing a flyover this morning. He will do it, but when it's safe. And so the tragedy continues, but we've already conducted 50 air rescue missions, boat rescues, and we are determined to save as many folks and to find as many folks as we can.
Real quickly before I let you go, beyond some cooperation from the weather, what is your biggest need this morning?
Our biggest need is certainly we want to make sure that we get water and cleaning supplies to the locations in the counties that have been affected. Those are being set up. Those drop places are being set up as we speak. But to anyone who's watching that feels moved and feels the need to help in some way, every dollar you can direct to the Team Eastern Kentucky Relief Fund is a dollar that will go directly to supporting this rescue mission and helping our fellow Kentuckians rebuild. So that website is Team EKY floodrelieffund.ky.gov. And please know how very much appreciated the people of Kentucky are, and how grateful we are for the support, already the outpouring of support that we've seen to make a part of this state who has been that has been left behind in the past, understand how much we care for them.
Lieutenant Governor Jacqueline Coleman, appreciate your time this morning. We will, of course, continue to stay on the story as well. Thank you.